You are listening to Fast Track Podcast, the place to be to fast track your personal finance or fast track your business, or both, through a series of conversations with those who have learned it, done it, and made it. Our guest for today is the creator behind The Art of Purpose, which is a personal finance blog dedicated to teaching you how to make more money, save more money, and live your best life. He was not always the most financially savvy person. After college, he had a negative net worth, and he worked hard to pay it off. At the age of 30, he got serious about building wealth and launched himself into many side hustles. Within 7 years, he has reached 1 million personal net worth. Besides his 9-to-5 job, he now focuses on teaching people content creation and monetization on Twitter. In this episode, he will share with us how he made it to 7-digit net worth in 7 years and what is the secret of gaining large followers and monetize from Twitter in a short period of time. Welcome to the Fast Track Podcast. And may I call you Art of Purpose or by your name?
The Art of Purpose is fine. You can call me.
Okay, yeah.
Or AOP. Everybody calls me AOP. So.
Okay. Let the audience know, where are you based right now?
I'm based out of Texas. I'm in the North Texas area. I've lived all around the country. I've been many places, but as of right now, I'm living in Texas.
And tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you start the Art of Purpose? Why did you start it?
Okay, so I had this on my website too. If you go to my website and click Start Here, it's there. My whole story about why I started The Art of Purpose. And basically, this is what happened in a quick summary. I was one of those people who was in the fire community, building up money, building. And I went on like a 7-year journey of taking my net worth from 0 to $1 million. And once I actually hit $1 million, this happened all over during the coronavirus as well. What happened was the market took a dip and I threw all of my money down right when it was at the bottom, and it helped propel me to over 7 figures net worth. I keep track of my net worth on Mint. I use an app to track my net worth. I know many of you may do that as well. And one day in May, my net worth, instead of 6 figures, from 909, it went to that 7-figure number. And I literally got there and I was like, okay, you build it up in your mind that you're going to become a millionaire and hit a certain number and things are just going to happen. But I literally got there and I was like, okay, what am I going to do next? And I thought about what to do. And I thought about like, what's the point? Maybe I had to find my own purpose. That's why I named my character The Art of Purpose. And it's just like, I had to think about what's the point of getting all of this money? What's the point of accumulating it? So I decided to, it was coronavirus time and people weren't allowed to go out. And I was just consuming a lot of media. And I'd been playing like, stupid video games because you couldn't do anything else. So I thought, well, I hit $1 million. I'm looking for something to do. I'm going to start a social media brand. And instead of playing video games and consuming, I'm going to actually start creating. And so that's where The Art of Purpose came from. It's just a concept that I came up with during the coronavirus, where to just get away from just sitting there and consuming information, instead get out there and actually start creating it. Sharing ideas.
And why art?
Why art? Because when I sat down, that's a great question. I sat down to come up with, a lot of people ask me like, how did you come up with this concept? And I literally sat down for an hour. I studied a lot in the past few years of persuasion. I'm big into Scott Adams and Dr. Robert Cialdini. I've read all of their books. So when I was putting together the concept of a character, I wanted to just take all of the best things and just combine it into one. So I was like, okay, so what would be a good profile picture? Okay, Brad Pitt, because everybody loves Brad Pitt, right? So why would you not use him as your picture? So I also thought, realized that tweets with pictures get higher engagement, right? That's a well-known fact. So why not tweet with pictures all of the time? So that's literally what I thought. I said, if I'm going to tweet, I'm going to use every advantage I can. So I'm going to take high quality pictures, beautiful pictures, and make that part of what my personality is online. And it happens that I'm in the field of art as well. So I have an advantage there. So it's also leveraging a strength of mine. So yeah, that's how I came up with the concept.
My next question is, you mentioned that you increase your personal net worth from 0 to 1 million in 7 years.
Mhm.
And how did you do that? Like, why did you decide to work on your net worth from a moment onwards? What triggered you?
I think net worth is the most important metric when it comes to defining whether you're wealthy or not. So I look at everything from a net worth perspective. Literally, I came across all of those financial fire blogs around 2012, 13, like Mr. Money Mustache and Go Curry Cracker, a lot of the big names, JD Roth. I started reading the information there, and I had read some Dave Ramsey before, and that helped me get out of debt. But once I found out how to invest, I became like addicted to it. So this is interesting. I decided to get rid of all of the things I didn't need. So I used to have a Mustang convertible loaded with leather interior back in 2012. And literally the first thing I did was I decided to sell it, and I traded it in for one of those electric cars, those small Nissan Leafs, electric Nissan Leaf. And I literally took a loaded convertible, swapped it out. I started changing my whole lifestyle into consuming less. And then when I did that, it was kind of like a symbol to everyone that I'm making serious changes in my life, because when you start doing that, people are going to be like, what in the world is going on? So I decided to make huge lifestyle changes, and I didn't really care what anybody thought. But by me taking the lead, I was able to get other people on board, because if I'm making that big of a move, it makes sense that like it's easier to do when you just plunge into it. So I started working on my net worth, doing some side hustles, working extra time, working side jobs, and investing my money in sound financial investments like the Vanguard Total Stock Indexes that a lot of people talk about.
And also, when you mentioned to bring other people on board, who are the other people?
Okay, so I don't know if you're married, but when you have a spouse, if your wife or your husband is not on board, you might as well not even bother, right? Because, and you'll know this, a lot of people, they'll have a wife or a spouse, and this is how regular people work. It's like somebody buys something in the household, right? And it's like, oh, okay, so they got a treat, now I need to buy, right? Oh, I got a car, now I need to get the car, right? So when I decided to take that plunge, and my wife is like totally supportive behind it. And when everybody's on the same page and knowing what's going on, it's so much easier to, when you're working together, it's so much easier to make progress.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And also, not just about spending. If you want to keep a budget, but your partner is not on board with you, and then to them they overspend and they don't think it's a big deal, but to you it's a big deal.
Right. But I made the biggest sacrifice, like right from the get-go. Like I had this Mustang convertible and it was so sweet, but I was willing to part ways with it to help better my family's lifestyle. It was more important to me to see my family succeed rather than me drive a nice car. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, totally. And talking about you made the lifestyle change, but in your early days, what are the biggest money mistakes you have made?
Okay, so I made the mistake that a lot of Americans make this mistake, right? So they go to college. I went to school on scholarship. I did have some debt though, because I had to pay for living. But right out of college, I was the person that went out and landed my first job. So what did I do? I went out and bought my first car, and I spent like $30,000. I just talked about a Mustang, but like I bought like a really nice um, Honda Accord, like, spending 30 grand on a leather interior loaded. Because once you start getting that first paycheck out of college, it's like, oh, wow, I'm making so and so per month. I can spend 500, 600 on a car per month, right? It's a huge mistake. And I regretted that. I remember all of the salesmen at the dealership were congratulating me, right? But they're probably like, you know, they're congratulating themselves. They just got another college kid
Yeah, another
to take
college
that.
kid.
They're all like, I never get the people who congratulate when you get a car, it's like, congratulations. I just transferred my money into a depreciating asset. What am I getting congratulated for? So it doesn't make any sense.
And you mentioned that you improve your personal net worth from 0 to 1 million within 7 years. And I'm very curious, how did you do it?
Okay. So first, we got rid of all of the excess. Like, I changed cars. When you go into all these fire communities, they make you very aware of what you're spending. Okay, so you need to be aware of how much you spend. I dropped my spending by $20,000 a year, at least, I would say, maybe even 30. Um, my commuting was costing me $7,000 a year. And since I traded that in for an electric car, electricity in Texas is so cheap. It's crazy. It's something like 7 cents a kilowatt hour. So it's almost essentially driving a car for free. No oil changes, no maintenance on an electric car. All you do is charge it, and the electricity is almost free. It's not free, but I calculated how much it was costing me, and I took my $7,000 commute per year, and I turned it into something like 150, $200 a year. And it's an instant win in your pocketbook. Whenever you cut expenses, it's an instant win for you. And
Yeah.
then what that allows you to do is leverage it and invest more. So we started saving 70% of our income per year. And we weren't even like living poorly. Okay. We had a nice townhouse, and we had a nice home. We just set ourselves up to be able to be efficient. So that's how, and the money, and good stock market the past 7 years. I also made some risky bets that paid off as well. I also started working side hustles. All of the income that I made in side hustles and second jobs, I put right into investments. Everything, literally. I didn't spend any of it. It's so tempting to go make extra money, or if you get a gift from your parents, to say, oh, I got 500, $1,000, somebody gave me this, or I got a gift from grandmom or something like that. It's so easy to spend it, right? But how about you take it and invest it instead, and it will pay dividends off for the rest of your life.
Right. But do you and your wife both work?
Yes, we do currently. Yeah. Why do we still work? That's a great question, right? Because we're still working. That's why. Because we want, what we want ultimately is like 1 million's great, right? Okay, but we want to be like in that like 2 to 3 million category. Okay, I know that a lot of people in the fire community, once they hit that million, or some of them even retire off 800,000, they stop. We also have a son, so what we want to do is just, we're kind of like trying to build, like, with social media, and we're trying to build something much bigger than just retiring early. Does that make sense? So that's why we're still working the 9 to 5s. Maybe one day we'll call it quits from there, but it depends on how much the social media presence, and how much we grow on social media as well.
And what are the biggest wins for you in your wealth accumulation phase? You mentioned investment. Is there anything that you did really, really well that accelerates your net worth growth?
Right. Yeah. So I know that this is going to get a huge know from a lot of people. My investment strategies go like this. For all of the money I get paid through from my 9 to 5, I put in retirement accounts and investment accounts through like Vanguard. That's 80%. And then what I do with the 20% is I put them in high risk trades in the stock market. So I did something like where I bought leveraged NASDAQ stock right before the election in 2016. And, I don't recommend people do this, but I made a lot of money off of this. So that accelerated my growth. Naval talks about this too. If you want exceptional returns, sometimes you need to take exceptional risk. And I took exceptional risk in this one part. So what I recommend is this: if you are going to take risk, only do it with a small percentage of your net worth. And from, well, a certain percentage. I use the 80-20 strategy, which is 80% conservative and 20% high risk. So if I lose, I'm still sitting there with a good chunk of my change, and and just you're not sitting there with nothing. You don't risk all of it. You only risk. It's easier to sleep at night when you're only risking a smaller percentage.
Yeah, the ones that if you lose, you won't bother too much. It hurts, but your life goes on, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And besides investing in like Vanguard, Total World, and also few risky ones, do you also invest in other areas like real estate and yeah, gold, silver,
Uh,
Bitcoin?
that is a great question. No, I actually do not, because I feel as though I have much. Okay, and I know a lot of people do real estate, and one day I may dabble in it. The thing I like about the stock market is that I have a blog post on this, like automating. I like to invest in things that are highly automated. So when I work my 9 to 5, I don't even see the money coming to me. It just gets pulled out directly of my paycheck. And it's so easy to adjust my lifestyle because of it. It's like a mind hack. So I just get paid. I get paid much less. We still save 40 to 50% of our income, even though we're already millionaires. And we don't even see the money. It just comes right out of our paycheck. So that's one thing. So I like automating my investments so that I can use my time to go into other endeavors. So I'd used to be flipping and side hustling there. Now it's on social media. And now we're building a brand on social media. And because I don't have to worry about all of those Vanguard stock investments. They're just there. They're doing their thing. So people forget that a lot. They all worry like, what Vanguard fund am I going to invest in? And I get a lot of questions from people who know me in regular life. They go, what's the perfect ratio of buying Vanguard total stock index versus total world versus, you know what I mean by that? And it's absolutely silly because they're already diversified investments, right? And so just pick one, take it, run with it, and then go use your mind and energy on something more important. As far as gold and silver, I don't invest in gold and silver. I don't invest in currencies. So I don't invest in Bitcoin. A lot of people may disagree with me on that, but maybe one day I will diversify into that. But as of right now, I'm fine with it works. What I do works for me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And also, what do you think are some of the smartest thing you did with money?
Oh, the smartest thing I did with money? Oh, wow. The smartest thing I've ever done with money is, oh boy. Um, I think that one of the smart things I did was this is counterintuitive here. Uh, I started saving so hardcore that I was purchasing food in like processed, mass produced just to save. There's certain things that you need to spend a little bit more money on. Okay. And it's not worth sacrificing for your long-term health. So one of the things that I did was I started gaining weight actually. And because I was eating so much processed food because it's so cheap, right? So what I did was I started investing a little more in like organic meats and grass-fed and healthier foods and cooking, staying at home. Now that'll save you money not eating out. But I think one of the smartest things to do is to align your body with the finances, because the best investment that you can make is in yourself, and your body and your mind are linked. I'm like a big believer in that. Your mind changes when your body is in great shape.
Yeah, and also I interviewed one of the personal finance bloggers in Switzerland. So he did the 1 month challenge by limiting his monthly budget to 1,000 Swiss franc. But 1,000 Swiss franc in Switzerland is really nothing, and he just eats like a pasta and stuff like that. But he feels
Right.
so horrible. He just did the challenge, so he know what he
Uh,
let go of he doesn't miss, but what he misses are the important things to him. So that's how he evaluate what things, what budget he can cut, what he cannot.
right. So, right. But it makes sense here. And I think people are focused too much in on the money aspect of it, well, which is important. But what's more important than money is time, right? So if I'm going to sit and eat foods that are going to take years off of my life, well, that's not a good investment, because you can always earn more money, but you cannot earn more time.
Money you can always earn, but the time will not come back. It's gone, it's gone. Yeah.
That's right.
Hmm. And then what do you think are the most common mistakes people make with money?
Is this for regular people, or yeah, just
Yeah, for
regular?
regular people.
Okay, hands down. Okay, I have to get in that mindset. So, okay, the biggest mistake people make, they get suckered by marketing and advertising, and they don't even see it. And I tell a lot of the people that I work with, and it's in my free book. It's on my site, and Mental Models of a Millionaire. It's a free book that I give away. I tell people to try to see things for what they truly are. All right. So you have these luxury cars that cost 50, 60,000 US. And then you have a nice Toyota that in the US can cost $20,000 that is actually a better car. Okay. So it's not as fancy as the other ones. It doesn't have the slick BMW Mercedes label on it. But from going to point, if you're going to use it to go from point A to point B to commute, stick with something like a Toyota, as opposed to going for something fancy and buying the brand names and getting suckered by what you're doing is basically buying the name and the advertising when you do that. So I think that's the biggest mistake people make, is they don't see things for what the true benefit that it brings to them.
Maybe one, two typical examples, like things that people spend money on that you think they should not have.
It's mostly the cars. So in the United States, the average auto payment is, I believe, $600 per month. It may even be more than that right now. So some families will have two cars that they're paying monthly payments on, and then the new car has higher insurance rates. There's a lot of associated expenses with it. They're spending money on vehicles that they're driving, 10, 20 miles to work, when something natural like a nice Toyota Camry, or a simple car, a Honda, that is half of the price. Well, that's one of the worst mistakes that regular people make. The other one that they make is that they get suckered by purchasing services, too much of a service. Okay, so like cell phone plans and internet, and now this is in the United States, and cable TV, it's the same way too. It's like when I purchase a cable TV, they have 500 channels, and it's like, how many of them are you going to really watch? You can only watch one at once, right? So some people spend in the United States $100 to $200 a month on cable, just to watch TV shows that have advertisements built into it. And then the advertisements get you to want to buy more. So a lot of it, I think the biggest mistakes are happening because of advertising, really. And people are getting suckered because of it.
And also the influence social media, other cultures led by the key opinion leaders in the internet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you have done it again, let's say in the past 7 years, how you accumulated your wealth, is there anything that you would have done differently?
Yes, I would have started on social media and on the internet a lot sooner. I guess one of the biggest misconceptions is like, I need to do out and hard work is really important, and like hustling and flipping and doing those things to earn extra money. Uh, it's a lot of hard work, but I would have definitely started on social media. It's a lot easier to generate income online. And uh, the earlier you get started building your social media brand, the better, because even now we're still in the infancy stages. So if one thing I would have done 7 years ago, I would have started online. You don't see the results immediately. That's the problem. So that might not have convinced me at first, but if you stick with it, you can.
And right now you are working on something to help people create more followers or monetize from Twitter. Is that so?
Yes. In fact, it's
Yeah.
already released.
Yeah.
So yes, basically we took our account that had my first 3 months on Twitter, I had something like 900 follows to 1,000, which I guess is pretty good. But in the past 3 months, we've added over 15,000 followers, all organically, all by understanding how Twitter works, playing the game while producing great content. You need to be able to produce great content. So my course is a lot about how to create great content, and then also understand how to play the game on social media, how to network, how to when to post. A lot of it is like some people post great content, but they don't understand like people need to get their eyes on it, and like how to get your eyes on your posts. And then once you get people to see what you're doing, you're going to start generating a following and followers. We also talk about monetization as well. I know people that are selling thousands of dollars worth of affiliate products per month on Twitter, and you can make money as affiliate marketing. We have it's just one section in our course that just deals with affiliate marketing, and it's nice change. It's for where we're at right now. It's change. I'll make a couple thousand just from affiliate marketing, and that's not even including that the content that we create that is making money very handsomely.
So it's all started from 3 months ago.
Really, yes. In August, we had, I want to say, 1,000 follows. And in the past 3 months, and I can even show statistics on it, keeps track of everything on here. We've added, I'll pull this up right now. In the past month, we've added 4,500 follows. Last month in October, our tweets got over 5 million views. And in October, we added 4,000 followers. I think for November, we'll add 5,000. I think that's where we're going to be, and have eyeballs on 7 million of our tweets. That's about where it's going to go. 7 million impressions. And once you're able to do that, so the process is like this. The way to monetize, there's other ways to do it too, but the way we're monetizing is once you actually have people viewing your content, so you got to build the following up first, and then you can start maybe selling 1 or 2 courses in whatever your niche is on Twitter. So that's what we do on Twitter.
Do you have a background in content creation? Are you from this space or
No, not at
professionally?
all. Isn't that funny? No, my background is I've actually been involved in the arts since I was 5 years old. I used to be an actual opera singer way long time ago, went around the world, did a lot of things like that. So I think I've been involved in the arts for so long. I've studied with so many of the masters and learned how to, I guess, create content on a completely different platform, right? In a way, not digital. So I'm just basically taking the lessons that I've learned from teaching, because I'm an actual teacher, and content creating as an artist, combining it and putting it on digital with Twitter. So I interact with my audience on Twitter the way a lot like somebody on stage would interact with the audience at an opera house or at a theater.
Oh, interesting. That's a very interesting way to look at it. Content creation actually is a form of art that you created and bring it to the audience, which are the followers or the browsers on the internet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
Content creation is an art form in itself. If and my course, I view my course a little bit like this. Like if you're an artist or a musician, you would take private lessons and you would study with the greatest in the world. And I've actually spent years of my life studying with literally the greatest masters in the art world. And so I know what it's like to study, take master classes, and have someone as a mentor like that. That's what my course does. It just takes basically what's going on in the art world and like turns it into Twitter and digital media. And so it's a really interesting concept, and that's why that's the unique thing that my account brings to
Yeah.
Twitter.
Mm-hmm. And what's the name of your course?
The course is called Create 24/7, the blueprint to unlimited content creation. So that second part is, it would take me a long time to explain. You have to get the course to understand, but there's a way to create that is, I see a lot of bloggers out there with wonderful blogs, unbelievable blogs, and unbelievable social media presence. I'm not even going to mention their names. They're leaving money on the table when it comes to Instagram and when it comes to Twitter. I go to their pages, their Twitter handles, and I'll see like they have 9,000 follows, or somebody has 20. I'm about to pass them on 20. They are unbelievable bloggers. They could literally have hundreds of thousands of people following them on Twitter if they knew how to tweet right. They have the content already done. There's a lot of great snippets from your blogs, and a lot of great snippets from even podcasters can do this as well. So it talks about how to generate ideas from the root and how to build on it. You can ask questions to your audience so that you find out what they don't know. One of the first things I found out, so early on, I started asking my audience questions like, what are the books that influenced you in finance? And then I found a lot of my readers, my viewers, were all about like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, not really the best books on personal finance. So from there, I started to create posts like, hey, check out The Millionaire Next Door, check out Your Money or Your Life. A lot of these people didn't know that because they're in their 20s and I'm a little older. So once I started asking questions, I knew what content my audience was interested in, and then I knew what to fill it with. Okay. And then from there, we created threads, elaborate threads. And then we took these threads on Twitter and we turned them into actual blog posts itself. Ideas never end. You should be constantly building on top and evolving your ideas and turning it into something bigger, taking it to the next step. So my book talks a lot about that. And then you can actually work on it in reverse. Once you have a blog post, you can find the most interesting snippets and turn them into tweets as well. So there's like a cycle that goes with ideas. And we talk about that in our book.
The book Create 24/7, the blueprint.
Yes, the blueprint to unlimited content creation. So, which is very appealing because when you're on social media, you want to, I see some people that are on Twitter and they post like maybe once or twice a week. Okay, so what will happen then is that the algorithms on Twitter will not prioritize you. So you need to like have enough content to continually go. So you need to be posting like 2 to 4 times a day. I post 7 because I know that when my viewers are interacting with what I'm posting, the algorithm will like boost me up a little bit. And if they make comments, if somebody makes a comment on your post, the next time you post, the algo then says, oh, you're somebody who interacts with this guy. So my tweets are seen more for a reason because I know exactly, really how to play the game. If you don't know where to go for the book is on Gumroad. And if you go to my Twitter handle, which is @creation247, @creation247, it's right in my bio, and you can actually click and look into the book. And it's a constantly evolving book that is actually never going to end. A lot of people, they drop a book on social media. There it is. It's just a book. But our book is going to be continually updated. So like as Twitter changes, we're going to be able to add some new things. So like they just added fleets on Twitter now, which is kind of like stories Instagram uses. Now we're going to like totally learn how to take advantage of that, and then we're going to educate our customers on how to take advantage, because social media is something that's constantly evolving. So if the course is about social media, shouldn't it also evolve along with it as well? And then once you buy it, you get all of the updates for free.
Yeah, I like that part because I read some parts in your book last night, and I really like how you simplify the methods and then people can use it immediately. It's actually not that complicated. You just need more practice.
Yes, absolutely. I as an artist, one of the way that you can demonstrate proficiency the most is by creating on demand. And it's a concept we talk about. So like, if you're going to create, like, force yourself to actually do something. So in the mornings, I will actually write down, as James Altucher talks about this too, coming up with 10 ideas. I talk to my readers, just force yourself to write down 10 tweets, 10 ideas that you have. You may look at it and go, okay, only 3 are good, then throw the 7 away, or maybe only 1 was good, and then use that. But one of the things you can do is, if you write down 10 ideas, you can always go back to it later on if you stay organized and look at it. Some of my best tweets I wrote, and then like 3 months later, I thought like, oh, wow, it was just missing this one thing. Let me add to it. And then I add to it, like, it just needed that one little extra line to it to make it pop off. And then once I do that, then the idea really, really shines. Sometimes they need to like marinate on a piece of paper for a while.
Marinate. I like this
Yeah.
word. Okay. Thank you very much for all the great information and your experiences that you shared with the audience. We learned a lot from it. Like me, I personally learned a lot from you. But I wonder, like, could you let the audience know where can they find you? Like your Twitter, your website, your blog, and I can also write them in the show notes.
Absolutely. My website is aestheticsareethics.com. Aesthetics, like aesthetical, aestheticsareethics.com is my actual website. And I have a blog there, and I actually sell paintings. Then my Twitter handle is @creation247. Do you need me to type that in the chat or anything?
I'm typing it, but I will write them in the show notes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So if you go to my Twitter handle, my course and my website is in the is in my bio. So if you just go there, you can learn about my website and the course Create 24/7. Yes, absolutely. Check me out and give a follow if you like the content. We talk mostly about personal finance. I know it's really bizarre, personal finance with fine art. And it's so weird.
I see that it's like once you sort it out and then you can buy the fine art from you. Then people can buy the fine art.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people follow me just for the pretty pictures, right? So, okay. Right? it's very different.
It's very unique, but I like it because personally, I don't really expose myself to art that much. But if I can read something about personal finance and appreciate some art, why not?
Right, the best of both. It's like chocolate and peanut butter, right? So.
Yeah, but it's also like personal finance is about numbers, about analytics, about the logical side, and art is another side of the brain. It's like you need to combine both sides of the brain, work together to read your tweet.
Exactly right. I love it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming here today. And of course, I will write all the information in the show notes, and I hope the audience will follow you on Twitter.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on today.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Fast Track Podcast. Show me your support by liking this episode and sharing it with your friends. Join the Facebook group at Fast Track Podcast 1, or you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and of course the homepage fasttrack.life. See you in the next episode.